Hello everyone, welcome to new video in React Basics learning series. In the previous video, you learned about how to refactor the to-do app logic into its own component. As part of the current lecture, we are going to cover a very important topic which is related to React Router, and it is a very widely used feature across industry. I think most of the web applications that you see is in one or the other way using the routing to expose different functionalities to the users. So this is going to be very exciting. Please make sure you go back and watch previous videos in case you have not watched. If you are new to the channel, I would highly recommend you to go and look at my React Basics playlist. It has around 15 videos in it. You go back and watch those videos before coming to this particular lecture. It will be very helpful for you to understand whatever I am talking about as part of the current lecture. So let's head over to the agenda for the this video. So in the previous video we refactored the to-do app code to its own component. As part of the current lecture, we are going to cover two very important topics. First one is how to set up the routing in the React.js application, and the second one is what is React Router DOM. We are basically going to do the routing setup using the React Router DOM npm package. So both these points are very much related, and we are going to use certain components exposed by the React Router DOM as part of this tutorial. So first one is called as the browser router, second is the routes, and third one is a route. So based on all these, basically using all these components, we should be easily able to achieve the routing in the React application that we are going to build. Okay, so let's go to the VS Code now. You can open your project in VS Code and use the npm start command to start your application. If you have followed all the videos so far, you should have your to-do app component available in your components folder. So it would look something like this: to-do app css and to-do app js, and you in your app.js you should have the to-do app component imported something like this. Now let's stop the I will stop the application because it is already running in my case. So before starting the application, we need to do certain things. First of all, we need to install the React Router DOM as part of our project dependency. If you want to learn more about React Router DOM, please go and search for React Router DOM in Google, and you will land to this. You will see this npm package. You can go to this npm and use this home page link in order to read more about what exactly this React Router DOM is about. At a high level, basically it helps you set up the routing for your React application. Okay, so let's go back to the VS Code. Now first of all, we need to set up we need to basically install the React Router DOM package within our package.json file. So for that we need to run npm install and React Router DOM, and you can use the option hyphen save. In the previous lectures I have talked about what is the difference between hyphen save and hyphen save dev. So this is used for basically installing a project dependency, which means whatever package that you are going to install, it is going to be bundled as part of your final build whenever you release this particular app to production. Whenever you do the production build, this particular package will be bundled as part of your final build, whereas if it is a dev dependency, it is mostly to use for the dev productivity or some improvements. For example, if you are doing prettier setup, it could be a dev dependency because it just does the code formatting, and which is not required for the production deployment for running your application. So let's use this npm install React Router DOM hyphen save command for installing the React Router DOM. So once you run this command, ideally once the install is successful, you can go to your package.json file and you will be able to see a React Router DOM package added to your dependencies. If it is not there, in that case you need to first ensure that your dependency gets installed properly before proceeding to next step, because you won't be able to follow up the further steps if it is not installed. Okay, so once this step is done, basically we need to do certain setup for getting the routing working for our application. So the first step that we need to take is we need to use the index.js file, and here in the index.js you will be able to see react.strict mode. Below that you need to add the browser router. So as you can see in the auto suggestion, I can see browser router, and it is getting imported from React router DOM. So just hit enter and close the browser router, and then in Windows you can use Alt up arrow to move a particular line to uh, one line up. You can either cut and move it in the middle of React router opening and closing tags, or you can use the option that I just suggested. So once this is done, your basically browser router will be available like certain features from this React router DOM will be available for you to use in the app.js. So let's go to app.js now, and within the app.js we need to add two things. First one is routes. So route is basically going to wrap all the routes that we are going to have. So there are three key components that we talked about. First one is the browser router that we already added in the index.js file, and this component enables client-side routing and should wrap your entire application. The second one is the routes, which we are going to write now. This component acts as a container for all your routes. So let's add that. Sorry, it should start with capital R. As you can see, it is getting imported from React router DOM, and it should wrap all your routes. So the third component that we are going to use is route, and route has two props. The first one is path, the URL path for the route, and the second one is the element, which is basically the component that you want to render whenever there is a path match. So let's add route, and first of all we need to define a path for this particular route, which is like, let's say in the root path, whatever I want to do, whatever component I want to render. And then the second is element, so let's call it as home component, though we have not defined the home component yet. That we will do now. So once you have completed this far, you can just close the route, and let's write one more route. The second one is going to be for the to do app. So you need to, in this case I am writing to do hyphen app. This is the route that I want, and the element that I want to use is going to be to do app. So this is the component that we refactored in the previous video, so it should be available for us to use. Once you are done with this, just close the routes, and that's it. And now because we have added home component here, so we need to define this home component as well. So let's go to the components folder, and new folder, create a new folder, call it home, and home already exists. Let's go and add new files within home. So the first file that we want to add is home.js, and the second file that we want to add is home.css. Let's go back to home.js file and import our css file. So for that you need to write a import statement which should have home.css import, and we need to write a component as well. So let's write the home component, and at the end you need to export default the home component. That's it, the structure for the home component is ready. Let's add some content. So I'm not going to implement a very fancy home component at this point. Going forward in future we will try to improve this component slowly, but for this video let's add a div for now, which will be having a class name called as app home, and let's put a closing bracket, closing tag for div, and let's put some text here. This is home route. Okay, so that's it for the home component so far, and we are using it here, so we need to import it as well. So let's import it. You should see some import something like this once you have the home import in your app component. And once you are done with all this, we can get rid of this to do app because this is not needed anymore. We have moved the to do app to a specific path, which is to do hyphen app. Now let's go back to the, let's start the application. Npm start. So once your app starts, we should be able to see the to do app running on the slash to do app route. On the base URL, basically we need to use this path after the base URL. And let's see, save it, and app is still loading. Let's go back and see the build. It might take few seconds to build, and then we should be able to see the app. Okay, it seems like app is loading now. So as you can see, this is the home route. So whatever is the default /1 that we have used, so this is where the home route is gets loaded by default. And if I wanna use the to do app, I need to add something like this in the route, and if I hit that URL, you should be able to see our app that we built. Now let's try to see the features. And if I click on add, it is getting added properly, and as you can see that all the functionality seems to be working fine. So far, like, we are able to set up the routing. The three very important points I just want to recap again that we did regarding the routing is, first of all, we installed the React router DOM npm library. Once you are done with that, basically what we did in the index.js file, we wrapped our app inside the browser router. That is the first point, and this component enables the client side routing and should wrap your entire application. The second thing that we did is we used the routes in the, so if you go to app.js file, we are using two tags, two components which are coming from the React router DOM. You will see the import something like this, where we are using routes and route from the React router DOM, and routes wraps all the route which we have within our application. So we have defined two routes. First one is called as like the root route, which is having the home component getting rendered for it, and then we have a to do app route where we are rendering the to do application that we designed in the previous lectures. And each of this route component is basically having these two props, so which is like self-explanatory, like element is the component that you want to render, and path is the path at which this path is basically after the base URL. So in my case, because in your case as well, if you are running the app in local, it should be localhost colon 3000 slash whatever path that you see here. So as you can see, this is where our app is loading. So this is what I wanted to cover as part of the current lecture, and I hope I was able to explain you guys how to use React Router DOM and the routing for setup routing for a React application. If these videos are adding value for you, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends so that everyone can get benefited from it. I plan to bring more educational content and even better contents for you. I have a very huge list of things, items that I want to do, and please make sure you subscribe to our channel. It helps me a lot, and it is a very big encouragement for me whenever you subscribe to the channel. It says that the content that I'm creating is adding some value for you. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.